Hello, and welcome to week 1 of English 333, or professional communications, whichever you would prefer to call it. It's kind of hard. It doesn't roll off the mouth well when you say it. English 333. I always want to add a fourth letter. So, for this course, we are going to do a couple major projects. The first one, kind of weird. I think it's duplicated in a couple different ways, but I think it's so important and so relevant to our professional development that while it may seem blasé or trite, we're going to start with it over the course of 3 weeks, and that is a professional development toolkit. But before we get into that, let's talk about what the course expectations are. So you'll note that when you go to Web Campus, the first thing you should see is this, right? It'll look like this. I'm very much into showing you exactly what's going on. I don't like the pretentiousness of pretending that there isn't a real authentic rawness that takes place when you're doing a lecture, and I don't like pre-recorded lectures that I did 5 years ago. I've never done that, so I apologize if you're kind of been waiting for a recording, but while I could have just posted the recording from last semester, that wouldn't be fair to you. Let's do one for you. Let's make it about you. So when you open the class, you'll see that the introduction page looks like this. I know that there are other pages and other ways to do it, but my goal is to make students understand that the modules are the most important and critical place to get information. I noted over the semesters that I've taught at GBC, I think this is my second year now, that students tend to go to the to-do list, and while that's available, understand that that's not the way to get all the information. So, and I know I'm talking to a 300 series class, so there's an expectation on my part that you guys come with some knowledge, some experience, and some understanding. So I'm not going to cover a lot of the basic stuff, but we will look over for this week those things that I think are really important to talk about. So if we start here, where it says start here, you'll see that this class is a major step towards speaking, writing, and thinking a language of higher education. And over the years, many students ask me, why do I take an English class? This is sort of my catch-all introduction to anything related to a composition class. And this is because routinely I've had students, when I taught at UTEP, I had engineering students that would on day one say, why do I need to learn how to write? And when I would explain to them things like, it's great that you can design, it's great that you can write and draw in this very specific medium, you're going to find that at some point you're going to want to ask someone for money. You're going to want to ask someone for a job. And just because you can design a building doesn't mean you can work with people. So professional communications connects to this conversation along with my other classes where I talk about the same part of this conversation in an interesting way. You have to be able to communicate with people. And we all know that there are times where you want to look at a person and just shake your head and just think, how stupid could you be to ask me that question? But you want to keep your job, so you know you can't do it. So in that context, professional communication in a class like this is going to teach you how to do that at home with your mask on. Do that at home separated. Do that in the office away from everybody else, but be able to still produce a document that is professional, that is empowering to you, and make sure that you keep employed, basically, right? My position in the conversation is that I come from a background. So when I was in the Navy, I was a yeoman, which is a typist, right? An old school admin type. I worked for officers. I worked for naval captains. I worked with high-ranking field officers in the military. When I got out, I went and worked for the Army and worked with generals. So my background in technical writing and professional writing comes from a military background. And then I transitioned into newspapers full-time. And I've worked at dailies and I've worked at weeklies. And I've had a lot of different opportunities to develop a robust experience in writing. And so that's what I bring to the table. That's what this kind of covers. It's a lot of redundancy. If you've been in any of my other classes, you're not going to see anything new. Unfortunately, this is not where the newness comes out, right? Who I am doesn't change. What my expectations are don't change. What you are expecting changes, right? I haven't introduced myself, unfortunately, but my name is Dean Straight, Dr. Dean or Dr. Straight. You'll note that in my email it says ronald.straight@gbc.edu or gbcnv.edu, sorry. But I do not go by Ronald. Please do not respond to me by Ronald. Do not email me as Ronald. Do not text me, hey Ronald. I've had students do it. it just, again, from a professional communication standpoint, I just told you a very important thing that should be your lesson number one. If somebody tells you what they want you to call them, their preferred expectations, and you choose to do something else, you create the long-term experience of that being the situation. So that's a really good pro tip right off the bat. You'll note that I give you my phone number. It's 775-271-0602. That is my personal cell phone. If you're going to communicate with me there, it's perfectly fine. But please text me with your name and which class you're in. I have about 230 students this term in many different classes. I think I'm teaching 9 total for this semester. So to assume that I would know who you are makes me feel like crap, because if I don't, then I'm going to ask you who you are. You're going to feel bad. You're going to be like, don't you remember me? I don't. Unfortunately, not through text. It's impossible. That's part of this professional communication aspect of any kind of conversation you're having with anybody else in a professional experience. So I would treat this class as both a sandbox for learning how to compose professionally, but also as, well, it's your place to practice that composition, right? My office is in the library building. I'm in 127. I hold my office hours Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to noon. However, during the current situation, the current pandemic, we are again sort of being discouraged from being on campus for a period of time. So I will only be available from text, email, or if need be, through Zoom, FaceTime, or Google Chat with an appointment. I do respond to text much faster than I will email. You will note that the class is 100% online. Please follow the steps below to continue your orientation to this class, right? So you've done all this stuff before. It's 100%. There's a syllabus. We're going to click on it and check it. The catalog description, none of this stuff is new. I think you've all seen these boilerplate elements to a syllabus. You'll note that articles are distributed by me through Web Campus, so I didn't make you provide a book or purchase a book. Course requirements are listed here, the computer requirements. I'm not going to waste your time reading all of this. The course objectives are highlighted here. It's pretty clear where we're going with the class and what the expectations are. Grading is done through the traditional A, B, C, D, E, F, or E. Wow. A, B, C, D, and F standards. Scrolling through. Again, none of this stuff is worth me going through again and again and again. We'll click over to the modules real fast. The real meat and potatoes for this week is to do your introduction so that we can start to have a conversation by watching the video and then responding, as many people have already started to do, which is really good. I will be responding to those responses today or tomorrow easily. You'll also note that in the week 1 agendas, I have provided this presentation that you're currently listening to and an explanation of what we're doing. So the first impression and contact with an individual and professional environment is important, correct? For most interactions, the first step is your cover letter. To help you and I both see who you are, we will spend the first 3 weeks building up your professional portfolio that will consist of a general cover letter, your resume, an elevator speech, which is usually something you could talk to someone about quickly to get them interested in your conversation, and your Dragon Slayer story, which is really important because once you get someone's attention, nobody ever talks about what you do after that step. So that's what we're doing. So for this week, we're building introduction and we're building community. We're understanding who we are. You will find that the readings are available in the Files tab. Readings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're not that dense. You should be able to tear through them, I think, pretty quickly. For this week, the only assignment is to participate in the online discussions for week 1 and to provide a rough draft of your initial cover letter on Monday by midnight. What that will do is that will let us start to establish an understanding of what your writing looks like, and it will let you understand where I'm coming from by following the rules for this week. So I kind of went fast. I don't think you need me to wax poetically for any more. With that said, I hope you have a good week. Please reach out to me if you need anything this week. If the readings don't work, let me know. I can update them. I think they worked when I tested it, but I've always had at least one thing break in one of my classes, so we'll get it fixed immediately. So don't stress if it doesn't work. Just reach out to me and we'll get it updated. Thank you very much and have a good day. Have a good week. We'll talk next Monday. Bye-bye.